What's up, guys? Today we have a rare one. Take a look, 1985 Air Jordan Kentuckys, or as they're known now, Storm Blue. These are really rare. I would say that these are amongst the rarest of the colorways of the 85 ones. They fall somewhere up there with the black toes and maybe even some of the metallics. They're that rare. So these need a lot of work. The plan is to keep them as original as possible. So we're gonna go ahead and do as much as we can without doing too much paint. Again, we wanna really maintain the originality of these, but I'm excited. Let's get started by taking the shoelaces out and throwing in the adjustable shoe tree. For those of you that are new, this is Vintage Kicks Gallery. Alright guys, we're going to clean this using Angel's Easy Clean and some OxiClean. I'm using my Magic Rotary brush, which again, we'll link in the description below, a medium bristle brush, and a soft bristle brush. So I'm going to start this by soaking the tongue and the inside liner in the OxiClean. And the reason is that we need to give this stuff some time to work. And these are really dirty. I'm thinking that just with the cleaning, they're gonna come back to life a lot. All right, now I'm gonna let that soak in and get started on the rest of the upper. So I'm gonna grab my medium bristle brush and start with the Angel's Easy Cleaner. We are going to redo the collar, so I'm not going to be as careful with these as I would be normally, just because we're gonna have to strip them anyway. So I'm just starting from the top. I'm gonna work my way down, and these need a lot of scrubbing, guys. They are dirty. Structurally though, these guys are in really good condition. I think they're gonna be really good after restoration, and I can't wait to see them. Gonna keep working my way down. All right, now that we have the surface stuff off, I'm gonna shift over to the electronic rotary brush. And again, starting from the top, I'm just gonna work my way down. And this thing is a powerful tool. I highly recommend them to everybody. They're available on Amazon. And again, I'll put the link below. All right, now that we've got the uppers pretty clean, we're gonna move on to this tongue. We've let the OxiClean soak in there, so I'm gonna move to the soft bristle brush and give it a good scrubbing before we again switch back over to the electronic rotary scrubber. And guys, you can bleach certain colors of the 85 tongues, but that's a last resort. You want to make sure your bleach is really diluted, and you want to make sure you really scrub that all off and rinse thoroughly, because if you don't, it's going to make the tongue yellow. OxiClean is much safer. It's not quite as powerful, but it generally does a pretty good job. All right, now let's go to our electric scrubber again. I try to get the inside here with the electric scrubber as well. All right, time to wipe these down. I'm gonna throw them on the dryer and we'll be back to move on to the next steps. All right, guys, they're clean, they're dry, and an astute observer would notice I got my hair cut, finally. So let's get back into the shoe. All right, so we need to remove the creasing now, and we're gonna do that with the touchless method of the Angelus shoe stretch. We're gonna soak it, and then we're going to hit it with the heat gun. This is my new go-to for crease removal. Been having some really good luck with it, and I can't recommend it more. So what you want to do is soak the area really good ahead of time. Kind of let it soak in there. And next thing we're going to do is grab the heat gun and just do crease by crease and apply the heat until basically it disappears. So as you do this, you're going to want to keep applying the shoe stretch, but I do it little by little, crease by crease. And seems to do nothing, and then all of a sudden you can just watch the crease come out. So you can still see these creases because the paint's kind of gone where they used to be, but as soon as we get this stripped and the new paint on, these things are going to be gone. These creases aren't too deep. They should be 100% gone with this method. So as soon as we get the paint on there, I'll show you. All right, looking good. So here we go. And now we're gonna have to prep the leather for paint. That means acetoning. You guys have seen it a million times, so how about a time lapse? All right, guys, now it's time to get to the paint, and not gonna lie, this was a kind of a tough color to match. I ended up using Angelus Royal 5, True Blue, Blue, and I believe a little bit of black. I did put a little bit of duller, but I don't have much. I'm hoping this will cover both shoes. I think they will, but wish me the best. All right, so we're gonna paint just like we normally do. Very little paint on the brush, do nice thin strokes on here, or thin coats. And this Kentucky color is really, really faded on here. It's gonna be nice and vibrant when we're done with it. And as always, I am not gonna paint down to the sole because the glue lines I wanna maintain to make sure that it maintains the age. And it's just a preference. So I'm not painting all the way up to the stitching either. I'm gonna do that at the very end with a small fill-in brush, and that way the stitching doesn't get painted and it maintains a factory look. And for those of you that this is your first time tuning in, I don't like to tape stuff. I'm just careful as I paint. I think taping kind of leads to a little bit of sloppier work, and of course it kind of sucks doing, so no tape for me. All right, guys, we got the blue nice and laid down, and it looks really, really good. So for the white, I'm not gonna do a complete repaint. I'm just gonna kind of fill it in and blend it out. So I have some paint mixed close to this color, I think. I'm gonna lay a little bit of it down. We may have to add some more white to it, and then we will see where we stand. So I'm gonna start this on the back panel, kind of an inconspicuous area first, and just see if it blends. Oh yeah, that's close. All right, now it's time to touch up the little areas, and I am gonna do the whole toe box, but everything else is only where it needs it. So we've got an area right here, we've got some areas in the back, but all in all, these are going to really, really look good after we're done with that white because the leather is in really good shape, guys. All right, guys, the blue and the white is laid down, and these things are starting to come around. But while we let this fully dry and cure before we do the clear coat, I want to address these oxidized soles. So we're going to treat them with Salon Care 40, put them in the indoor light box, and before we know it, they'll be looking a lot better. So you guys have seen this done a lot. All we're gonna do is apply a layer of Salon Care 40 with a paintbrush. With the paintbrush, and just brush it on. We're gonna cover it with that plastic wrap, and we'll go down to my indoor light box and put these in for about 1 hour each side. I want to make sure I get the bottom blue on here as well because these soles are badly oxidized, and that's going to make the color really come back to life. May end up having to do a couple treatments on these. I'm not quite sure yet, but we want to really bring them back because I'm all for yellow soles, but these are just too far gone. Get a nice adequate coat on here. All right, we've got a nice coat on. What I'm gonna do now is cover this with plastic wrap to kind of lock it in, and we'll go throw it in the light box. All right, you guys can come too. Let's go. All right, we're back from the light box, and well, what do you think? Take a look. Yeah, these turned out pretty damn good from the box. Slightly off color, they're more of a sale color, but that's exactly what you want with an 85. Couldn't be happier with the way these came out. So now we have to address this fading of the sock liner. For whatever reason, this color from Nikes of this era seemed to fade pretty badly. So we're gonna use RIT dye, and we're gonna brush on some dye and bring back the color. So to do this, first you want to remove the insole because this can get a little bit messy. And this insole, let's see, will it come apart in one piece? Oh, I don't know. There we go. Set that to the side here. Then you want to take the tongue and carefully fold it down. Put it in the toe box. That way you won't get any dye on it. All right, so we're using RIT dye, and I believe this is the royal color, but it's a good match. And basically we're just gonna brush it on the old stock liner. And that's gonna bring back the color and get rid of this nasty, nasty fading. So you can spray this on too. I generally do spray it, but it's kind of hard to spray at this table. So we're gonna brush it. So I like to work from the top and then go down. That way nothing gets missed. This stuff goes on pretty dark, but it does lighten up a little bit when it dries. This dries pretty much a perfect color for this particular colorway. All right, and as we go down, the color comes back, so we don't need to go all the way to the bottom with this dye. Just gonna go to the point that it starts blending in. And that's going to do it. So right now we're to the point where we have to do the collars. And to do that, we are not gonna use Restore Coat this time. We're gonna use a product called Professional Vinyl and Leather Repair. The reason being is they have a really good cream color that's a perfect match for these. So it'll save us a step of painting. It'll be more of a factory look to it, and it's what I have here. So before we do that, we need to tape these off. So let's go, let's summons our magic tape machine, and just like that, they're taped. All right, guys, so we're going to be using this professional, let's see, it's professional leather and vinyl repair kit. So I'll link that below, but basically this stuff goes on just like Restore Coat does. We're going to spread it as evenly as possible, then we can sand it, etc. So I'm going to get started right away with the front side here, and I'm just going to lay down a bead at the very bottom. And we're gonna do just a couple inches at a time. And once we get that on there, take my nifty old insurance card and spread it up there as evenly as possible. Now we don't have to get this perfect because we can sand it, but the better we get it right off the bat, the less sanding, the less we have to deal with it. So might as well just take a little extra time and do it right. So this stuff goes on much like paint, but it dries like a leather or a vinyl. Well, we've got enough good layers on here that we can pull the tape, and might add a couple more layers later. I want to see how this dries, and one of the big things you have to do with this particular product is rub it with rubbing alcohol afterwards. That takes the gloss away, so that's an important step. So let's go ahead and pull this nice and gently. We've got a blade here just in case we need to correct our line. Alright, so far so good. Woo! Alright, this is starting to look like a new pair of Kentuckys. What do you think? Alright, now we need to do the clear coat, but before that, let's let this fully cure, make an assessment on if we're good or not, and go from there. Well guys, we're almost done, and it's been a long one. So if you're still with us, go ahead, hit that subscribe, smash a like, do whatever you want. Actually repost this if you can, or not, it's up to you. All right, so we need to add some acrylic finisher. For this, I'm using Angela's matte finisher. And one little tip when using any matte finisher, make sure you shake that stuff like crazy ahead of time. It's important to get the duller to mix up with everything in that. So we're just gonna spray this like we usually do. Kind of mist it on. Make sure we cover everything. And that's that. So, you know what time it is now. Let's let this dry, let's throw the laces on, and finally check them out. See you in a minute. Well guys, you already know, this is how we started, and this is how we finish it. Check them out. These were a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie, but look at the results. I mean, this did this grail justice. Recap what we did. We started with the deep cleaning inside and out. We removed all the creasing throughout. We restored the paint on the uppers. We did completely the blue. We did the toe box of the white. We did some touch-ups of the side panel. We redid the vinyl on the collars. We re-dyed the inside liner. You name it, it was done into these shoes, and whew, been a lot of work, but it was worth it. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments, and see you in the next one.
This rose gold for your birthday. Would you like that? I know you like that. Yo, call me A Forte, aka your Padre. Smooth as a criminal, rolling down your highway. NYC Passe, you know how I be though. Gotta help myself so I can help the people.